Good evening. I'm Devin Bartolotta with this election night update. We have our first results of the evening in some of the 20 races and issues on the local ballot. The most closely watched are, of course, the special elections for 2 of the state's congressional seats. Voters in parts of the viewing area cast ballots for the seats formerly held by Cedric Richmond and Luke Letlow. Let's take a look at those very early numbers right now that are rolling in. Karen Carter Peterson currently leads the race in the U.S. Representative 2nd District race with 38% of the vote. Troy Carter coming up right behind her with 36% of the vote, and Gary Chambers Jr. with 20%. Again, these are very early numbers. This is the early vote here. So the polls just closed just a moment ago. With us tonight, offering his analysis, is Eyewitness News political analyst and Gambit political editor and columnist Clancy DuBos. Clancy, thank you so much for being with us to talk about the results tonight.
Good evening, Devin. And I just refreshed my screen to get some newer numbers. And actually, the numbers I'm seeing now have Troy Carter slightly in front. And these are early voting results that clerks of court have had since early voting ended a week ago. So some of the smaller parishes are able to dump them in right away because they don't have anything else on the ballot. And the results I'm seeing have Troy Carter ahead with almost 43%, followed by Karen Carter Peterson with just over 32%. But again, we're talking about the early and absentee votes from only 2 parishes. And there are 2 of the smaller parishes. This is not Orleans, not Jefferson, which is where almost 70% of the vote is, in Orleans and Jefferson Parish. So we're getting probably the vote from some of the river parishes. And as I said, those parishes don't have much or perhaps not even anything else on the ballot. So they're able to put in their early and absentee votes right now and get that out of the way.
Now, I want to bring up, we've got the map here of the 2nd Congressional District and what exactly it covers. Now, we've discussed this person's taking over Cedric Richmond's seat, and there were 15 candidates for this race today. Can we talk a little bit about some of the candidates and also what people they'll represent?
Well, you've got 15 candidates, as you said, 4 Republicans, I think 2 or 3 independents, and the rest Democrats. I think 7 or 8 Democrats. And the district is very heavily Democratic. The 2 leading candidates, of course, are the ones who have the highest profile, both state senators, Troy Carter and Karen Carter Peterson. Gary Chambers is a civic and political activist in Baton Rouge. He and Karen Peterson are the 2 most progressive candidates among the 3 major candidates. Troy Carter is left of center, but not quite as progressive on that scale, as it were, as Peterson and Chambers. Carter has most of the political endorsements, thanks to his ally and mentor, Cedric Richmond, who has put a lot of his weight behind Troy Carter. But Peterson has her own contacts in national Democratic politics. She has the support of Stacey Abrams out of Georgia and several other high-profile Democrats around the country. So it's been kind of a clash of the titans in some ways, but it's also a clash of local political forces. Peterson was brought up in the political organization Bold in New Orleans, and Carter is very much allied with Cedric Richmond's political organization here in town. So this battle is unfolding, this race is unfolding on several levels, in terms of national politics, progressive versus moderate Democrats, and then locally Bold versus Cedric Richmond. And we've yet to hear an endorsement yet from the mayor or from the DA, and they may weigh in during the runoff. Right now, I would say this race appears to be headed for a runoff in late April, which would be April 24th, most likely between Troy Carter and Karen Carter Peterson. As we get more numbers in, we'll find out who runs first, who runs second, and exactly what their totals are.
I want to move on now to the 5th Congressional District. That, of course, was Luke Letlow's seat. He unfortunately passed away from complications to COVID just days before taking office. Can you tell us a little bit about that one? Was that as hotly contested as District 2 here in New Orleans?
Not really. In District 2, which is a heavily Democratic district, and just to talk a little bit more about Cedric Richmond's old district, Congressional District 2, it's over 61, almost 62% African American and very heavily Democratic. District 5, which is what Luke Letlow won before he caught COVID and passed away, very sadly, after he won the election in November, his widow, Julia Letlow, is running. She leads the pack with 60%. That is a very heavily Republican district, but it is not nearly as hotly contested on the Republican side because all of the major Republican forces coalesced behind Julia Letlow, who is a college administrator and a force in her own right. And as you see from the early votes, she's, we've got 25,000 votes already in. So we get what we're seeing is early and absentee votes from 21 out of the 24 parishes, which gives us a pretty good snapshot. And she's got 60% plus of the votes so far. And if that holds up, she's going to win this outright tonight, which is what a lot of people expect. Her major challenger is Candy Kristoff, Sandra, known as Candy Kristoff. She's got about 32% of the vote so far. This is in the early and absentee vote, which when you have 23 out of 24 parishes showing their early and absentee votes, that typically does project what we're going to see. So I'm not ready to project Letlow the winner, but I would say we should not be surprised if she wins this tonight with somewhere in the high 50s, close to 60% of the vote. And we'll see more as the votes from today roll in. But in both of these congressional races, you're not going to see a super high turnout, which is what has a lot of people a little concerned, because when the turnout is very, very low, a big turnout in one sector of the vote and one cohort of voters can really change the results dramatically. And we're just going to wait to see if something like that happened. It typically doesn't, but sometimes it does. And that's why we always wait till we get a good share of the vote in before we project a winner.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to go back. Okay, this is the map of the 5th congressional district. So as you can see, not quite in our viewing area here, but we do want to go over District 2 one more time. Do we have any new numbers for that, Dominic? We're going to
check right here myself and see if we have some news.
Again, these are the early voting numbers. It looks here like we are not having any new updated precincts reporting, as polls just closed about 13 minutes ago. But Clancy, as you were saying, this is going to be a tight race. There will likely be a runoff in this one, and we're seeing that with the early vote and how tight it is right now.
Right, and what we're seeing with half of the 5 out of 10 parishes have now turned in their early and absentee votes in that second congressional district. But those parishes do not include Orleans and Jefferson, which is almost 70% of the vote. So that's really where the battle is. So we don't have anything from Orleans and Jefferson yet. Basically, all of Orleans Parish, except for Lakeview and the Lakefront, is in this district. So all of East New Orleans, all of Mid-City, the French Quarter, Treme, Faubourg, Lower 9, Uptown, Carrollton, all of that, Central City, all of those neighborhoods are in the district, as well as all of Algiers and most of the West Bank of Jefferson and parts of the East Bank. And basically what this district does, it was drawn purposely to create a Black majority, and it's about 61+% majority African-American registration. It was designed purposefully to give African-American voters the opportunity to elect either one of their own or someone of their choosing. And that's what happens all over the country. So this is the only majority Black, majority Democratic district in the state of Louisiana. We have 6 congressional districts. 2 of them are in play tonight, but it's pretty clear that the one that's overwhelmingly Democratic is probably going to elect a Democrat, and the one that is overwhelmingly Republican will elect a Republican, possibly tonight. In fact, I would say probably tonight.
Yeah, you said probably tonight. What exactly are you looking for? What are you going to need to know or need to have to declare a winner on this?
Well, it'll be easy, I think, to declare a winner in the 5th congressional district, where Julia Letlow is expected to romp on that one. Again, I'm looking at all of the early and absentee votes, 23 out of 24 parishes. She's got 59.1% of the votes. I need to know what that one parish that's not reporting, if it's Washita Parish, which is Monroe, or if it's Alexandria, Rapides Parish, that's a lot of votes. So I would like to see all 24 parishes and have a smattering of votes from, maybe around 25 to 30% of the votes in. By then we'll know. And I don't think it will take that long. I think certainly by around 9 o'clock, I think we'll be able to call that race. And if someone told me I had to make a call right now, I would say Julia Letlow's probably going to win this race tonight. And in the 2nd congressional district, it's very likely that Troy Carter and Karen Carter-Peterson are going to head for a runoff.
All right. Well, Clancy, thank you so much. We are going to check back in with you throughout the evening as these numbers start to roll in. So you can catch us online on our Facebook page, and we will be with you after the NCAA games tonight.